it right from the start and prepare to celebrate success, or have a false start and be ready to swim in a sea of excuses and blame games at the end of it all. We took off time, therefore, to prepare, and we now believe we are ready for actual implementation of the GROW project, and that's why we are all here today, and we are very thankful that you have all come on short notice to attend this function. On this occasion, therefore, we would like to express our most sincere appreciation to all those who generously worked and helped us to make this project a reality and successfully reach this point that we are in today. Right Honorable Prime Minister and our dear guest, in a special way, we would like to thank His Excellency the President of Uganda, the Cabinet, the Parliament, the technical team from the World Bank, led by Madame Margarita, the Private Sector Foundation, and the Makerere University Business School, Uganda Investment Authority, and indeed the team in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development under the able leadership of our Minister, Honorable Betty Amongi Ongom, and her colleague ministers, and the technical head of the ministry, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Agre David Chibenge. We have been at this together, and we hope that we shall keep together to achieve the project goals. Right Honorable Prime Minister and all dear guests, as part of this occasion, we shall be treated to a brief presentation to help us get insights into the design and implementation arrangements for this project. It is our hope, therefore, that your presence here and the passion that we know that you have for the development of our people who are disadvantaged will help to rally the forces and create the momentum for project implementation as we get down to regional rollouts in the coming days. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to witness the planting of the seed. That is the flag of the implementation of the GROW project. We commit to water this seed to ensure that it grows and yields the fruits that we desire. I want to thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, our Members of Parliament, and indeed all our guests once again for accepting to come and to grace this occasion. Permit me now, at this point, to invite Madame Sarah Kajingo, the Vice Chairperson of the Private Sector Foundation, to make her remarks. I thank you very much for listening.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Right Honorable Prime Minister, who we are expecting anytime, the Honorable Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and your colleague, the Minister of State, Honorable Members of Parliament present, the World Bank, as well as the task team leader of the GROW project, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Gender, as well as all your officials, esteemed development partners, representatives of women entrepreneurs, esteemed members of the Private Sector Foundation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for PSFU to be part of this landmark activity as we roll out the GROW project activities. Today, we are engaging with you, esteemed guests, with policymakers, all our stakeholders, to share information and implementation modalities of the GROW project. PSFU wishes to convey our appreciation to the government of the Republic of Uganda and the World Bank for this project. would like to assure you that we implement to deliver and change lives of women in this country. PSFU, in implementing the GROW project on behalf of the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, with the Ministry of Gender being the overall coordination ministry for the project, the three subcomponents implemented by PSFU are subcomponent 1C, which is support for trade and trade-specific skills. The second subcomponent is facilitating access to credit for enterprise growth. Subcomponent 2C will be sustainable loan products and processes for women entrepreneurs. PSFU has in the past and presently supported implementation of various government programs, including the Business Uganda Development Scheme, the Energy for Rural Transformation, Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Projects, Skills Development Facility, and now the GROW project. Our efforts build on previous World Bank supported projects, the Skills Development Facility, and the women entrepreneurs to address social, skills, financial and infrastructure challenges that they face. A mix of interventions will be provided to both individuals and groups of women entrepreneurs to address these challenges. We wish to once again convey our appreciation to the government of the Republic of Uganda and the World Bank for the opportunity and support to construct and equip the Women Entrepreneurship Training Center at PSFU. The multipurpose service and production facility is intended to boost women enterprise productivity. The Women in Business facility will finance business development services for women-owned micro and small enterprises that have a potential to grow and increase productivity. This intervention will cater for different beneficiary groups. In order to improve accessibility to financing, PSFU will work with competitively selected financing institutions, both government and non-government, to increase access to finance for women enterprises. The financing for loans is intended to facilitate the transition from micro enterprises to small and medium enterprises. This intervention responds to challenges faced by women to meet their capital needs for business expansion and growth, such as high costs of preparing business plans to access credit from formal financial institutions, risk preferences of women and familiar to accessing credit via formal financial institutions, lack of collateral, a key requirement for borrowing from local banks, and the inherent gender biases, among others. We at PSFU envision that through the three subcomponents I mentioned earlier, the interventions that PSFU is responsible for, women entrepreneurs will be able to transition from one level to another, as well as be able to meet the desired project targets. We are excited about GROW and look forward to a harmonious working relationship with the Ministry of Gender, the lead implementer, and all the other stakeholders, both public and private, at a national and district level. We are indeed very, very excited. At PSFU, we uphold the values of our founders, the late Dr. Mlwan and his contemporaries, of fragility, of working within our means, of delivery of projects within set timelines, and will not disappoint. We congratulate the women of Uganda And once again, thank you, Government of Republic of Uganda, through our esteemed Minister of Gender and your colleagues. We trust that the project will be implemented transparently and equitably. Thank you for listening to me, and I wish all of us a great day for God and my country.
Thank you so much. I am requesting the participants, you keep noting whatever they are talking and you feel you have not understood. Please keep noting, because we have a session of discussions where you'll ask your questions and we'll be able to answer you. And at this juncture, I want to call the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, who is going to take us through an overview of the GROW project, the components, and the key interventions. Please, this is the most important part of it so that we can understand. Note. Thank you so much, Honorable Amongi Betty.
The honorable ministers who are here, and the chair, Honorable Sarah Mateke, all of you honorable members of parliament. Let me start by thanking you, honorable members of parliament, for supporting this project, generating growth opportunity and productivity for women enterprises in parliament, that enabled parliament to appropriate the funds. In a special way, I want to thank His Excellency the President and Cabinet who supported this project, and the World Bank. They are not yet here, but they will be here. This program started with a proposal for a loan. But when His Excellency the President guided that we should try to negotiate with the World Bank, because our focus for loan is on infrastructure and others, we took the guidance of His Excellency the President and negotiated with the World Bank to support this project under a grant. And indeed, World Bank, towards the end, accepted to extend this as a grant of $117 million. So please, let's thank the World Bank and His Excellency the President for the guidance that has given us as women of Uganda this grant. Members of Parliament, you are the gateway to our women. You are the gateway to the transformation of the enterprises. We started with the rollout. The launch was done by His Excellency the President in Shirura District on Women's Day. When he launched it, he paved the way for us to now go to the villages. However, we had not been allocated money in the main budget. The money came in the supplementary. So this first rollout is targeting members of parliament and the platforms that are undertaking several enterprise development for women, like Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Forum, UWIL, and other NGOs. But for today, I'm going to take you through. The reason why we are not going into in-depth today is because we want the members of parliament to know what the project is about and how they can participate in ensuring that the women down in your districts and your constituency can uptake the program. But from here, we are also going now to districts to sensitize the women who want to uptake the project. So you, the members of parliament, wherever we shall be going, again, we will need you to be in your constituency and support in ensuring that you are with your people and make remarks in your districts. So this particular presentation will give the components, the background, implementation modalities, environmental and social risk impacts, and your role as members of parliament in the mobilization of GROW. The major background why we thought about this project, I'm not going to read the project name and so on. I'll go to the constraints that facilitated us to think about this project. Over time, we've been implementing our project, which is the youth livelihood and women entrepreneurship. When we were implementing this project and program under the government, we found several constraints that women in rural areas have. The first one is limited access to finance to start or grow their businesses. You will agree with me that most of you members of parliament, you have several mushrooming microfinance and lending institutions that are lending to women. But when you look at even the money you, the member of parliament, the interest that you are charged from the bank might be between 18 to 24%. But the woman in the rural area selling tomatoes, onions, they are getting money at between 25 to 36% in a month from the microfinance. And they struggle, but they are paying. So with the most of the women getting money from microfinance charging high interest, we recognize and realize that we need to get women financing which is cheap and able to grow their business. We also found out that there's poor entrepreneurship culture for women. Sometimes they don't know maybe how to even keep their books. They don't know when they start businesses how to calculate the profit and all those. There is also limited access to digital technologies. These days you find people are now shopping online. People are delivering tomatoes, onions, vegetables online. So we are saying, can we also try to move women who are now in a medium or small scale to the digital platform? But we realize only 44% of women-owned businesses access phone, compared to 62% of the businesses owned by men. We also found out inadequate basic economic and social infrastructure for women, including absence of shared production infrastructure and child care facilities. When you go to the markets, just here in Nakawa is a vibrant market full of women, but when you reach there, a woman who has delivered with a 3-month-old baby wants to continue selling that tomatoes, that onions. They don't have where to keep their child. So if we are to support women to do business, there are certain common user facility that we need to put in those markets where they're doing businesses and any other place. So we'll also be able to tell you how we are going to handle that to support the women in business. We also realize that there is an absence of structured intervention along solutions that can produce impact. So this project was therefore designed to increase access to services that enhances transition of female-owned businesses from micro to small and from small to medium. So we are not going into the women who are starting up, because when we discussed with His Excellency, the President and Cabinet, the argument was PDM, Emioga, and others are supporting women who are starting up. but they don't have good, cheap finance to scale their business. So this money is coming for someone who has started something and wants to scale up. And you people, the women here, the women members of parliament, you have businesses. You might also be choking with loans. So you are not going to, we are not going to say because you are a member of parliament, you should not benefit. We are saying any woman who has a business and you want to expand, you want to export, you want to certify with UNBS, because you are supposed to be role models. If you are poor and you are just talking and your business is there, it has collapsed, and you're going to tell other women about to grow, how will it look? So we are saying we will be example, but we must also mobilize others to be examples. So with the outcome is we want to target 35,000 micro and 4,000 small women enterprises to transition from small. If you are now doing tomatoes, can you now go to scale it up from tomatoes maybe to tomato sauce, or maybe to even come aggregate yourselves as tomato sellers? We support you, UNBS certify, Ministry of Agriculture and Export Promotion support you, then you start exporting in Dubai. I remember one time His Excellency was telling us of somebody who came, and Honorable Kasaija also told us that story, where he thought he had so much goats in his farm. So he went and made a deal with somebody from Saudi Arabia to come and buy the goats in Uganda. Those people came with the first plane and wanted 3,000 goats for export. They only took one cargo plane. They never returned. Why? Because we have goats everywhere, but there is no point of aggregation of the goats that will allow somebody to come and be able to export. So we want to support aggregation of fruits, vegetables, and support the aggregation so that they export. In Dubai, when you go, it's a country that wants to get a lot of products from Uganda. But because most of our women cannot facilitate value chain that His Excellency, the President, is always talking about, we are being left behind. So in this, we have we have several components of this project that I want to go to under page 4. The transition I've already explained in that graph which is there. So under this project components, and I want you to listen carefully on the components and see where you can fit yourself, or where the women in your constituency and area can fit themselves. Now we have component 1A. This one is to support creation and strengthening of women's platform, community mobilization, and mindset change. And under this one, there are already like OWIL, like chambers of commerce, but in your different districts, we want to assume that you might have a community-based organization. You might have a women's network that we can train under this project, whose role will be to mobilize the women to uptake the project. So this particular component is to mobilize all the stakeholders, associations, digital spaces, social intervention, and at district, the uptake of this program is at district level. We might have people at national level, like NGOs at regional level, sub-regional level, to support in the mobilization. But the actual intervention is going to be at district level. That's why members of parliament becomes key. So under this component, we will be doing a lot of this mobilization and sensitization to make sure the women and get to know how they can uptake the program. Subcomponent 1B is support for core business development for micro and small enterprises. Here, the project will support development of a core package for training in topics that enhances women's entrepreneurs. To train women, and the training will be in local languages. That's why I'm interesting you to start looking through in your district which is the major NGO or major platform for women that can be able to participate in training women in their local languages. We have got MUBS, Makerere University Business School, to develop the core. They will go to your districts, find out what knowledge and capacity building the women require, and they will develop the content for the training. And when they develop, then we are going to translate it in the local languages. And it will now be the trainers that will be supporting the training. And we will get service providers who understands the local context to be the one to support the training. The women entrepreneurs then will access the training from their workplace. We don't want a situation where you're saying women who are first going to the garden in the morning, you want to say from this sub-county, you all come to the district headquarters. No. If the women say we want bookkeeping skills or we want financial skill, we will say, okay, which is the nearest place in your sub-county to support you? Then we aggregate women at sub-county level. That's why we are localizing the training into local languages. And it will be the women to tell us what they want to learn. If they tell us we are okay, then we will not proceed with the training, we proceed with uptake. Then we have component 1C, which is to support trade and sector-specific skills courses. This one is very important. It will support women entrepreneurs and enterprise in trade and sector development services across all the chain. The marketing, branding, certification for export, product value chain development, innovative climate smart production system. Now, let me just give an example. Let's say you are from a milk producing area and you have women who are already having their milk. They have their cows, they have the milk. But they want to now turn it into yogurt. So, under this component, we will pick the women who are producing milk, look for a production factory where they are now doing and undertaking yogurt production. We will place the women to go and train practically, maybe for a month or two, depending how practical it can be for them to learn. So they will learn. If they are not the one, they can look for their staff to go and be trained. Then once you are now supported and you know the skills of making yogurt or making ghee, that is when you now go back and we support you under another component which I will talk about. You might be in a place where there is so much agricultural produce like sunflower, and somebody wants to transform sunflower into cooking oil. We will take them into a factory that is already undertaking their technical staff to go and be trained for free. Then after they are trained, we will now support you under another component which will give you machinery. So URI will be our key partner, and where URI cannot support, then we are going to look for another agency that can support any other private sector doing that productivity very well. So it is hands-on skill to support the women in what they are doing. Let me also here say, not alienate the male MPs who are here. This program is targeting women, but if you're a man who is employing women, a certain percentage of women, you will also be allowed to access the financing. So, because ours is, how do we stimulate growth and more employment for women? So if you're a man and you say, okay, I have a milk plant, I will, instead of me going, I will employ women to go for this trade sector training, and they come and be employed. Then we will support that enterprise of a man who is employing women. We will do skilling. We will do, under this component, also certification. There are many women who are doing so many things, and they have people who are ordering from abroad. But before you export anything abroad, there's standardization that you must be certified. You must first be certified with UNBS. Then there is an ISO. It's an international certification. Before you can export your things to the European market, US, Asia. So under this component, we will have support for free. If you want to standardize your product, even in the villages, you have your warege, you now want to turn it into a gin and put it in a supermarket. We will support you. UNBS will be paid by this project to go and certify you, so that you can come into the supermarket and into the market. So we will really need a lot of support from members of parliament to look for those women who are doing so much productivity and products, so that you will be linking them to UNBS under this project to go and do certification. There are many people who do agricultural products, but those agricultural products requires you to get an inspector, and many people don't know. You need an inspector. Even when people who travel abroad and you want to take fruits in the US, where some of you carry your things in the luggage, you reach airport and then they throw away your vegetables. They throw away your things you're taking for your relatives. There's supposed to be an inspector to inspect and give you a certification to travel. So those inspectors under this project will bring them on board. So, and profile them and give the list to all the districts. So if you want to certify an agricultural product in that sub-region, you will know which inspector to call to do certification for your agricultural project. If you want others that requires UNBS, you will be able to call, and just they will go where you are, because we are supporting that institution through this project. So that is our component of trade placement, which is C. Then I go to component 1D. Component 1D is to support expansion of women enterprises' access to work placement opportunities in high demand careers across a range of industry, like those that are not traditionally dominated by women, to enable them acquire skills and network required to operate male-dominated high-profit trades and occupation. The project will facilitate women entrepreneurs and employees to transition into profitable sectors or trade. Priority sector and trade and enterprises participating will be selected according to the ranking of the needs that will be identified, and the women entrepreneurs and employees who are in any enterprises and their women will be able to apply. So under this component, we have, for example, I'm glad that we have the famous lady who is in Noya. Can you stand up? The owner of chairs. She's there. She's the one, if you see those supermarket, the president is always making reference to her. Now, there are women like that who wants to go into big enterprises that are dominated. Maybe you want to open a factory, and you want more skills into handling such an enterprise. We will be able to place you again in those high-level training areas and trade areas for you to go and learn. We can say, okay, you go to her. She's been doing well. You will go to her. You will be placed in her factory to see how does she start from planting the mangoes to weeding the mangoes. What does she do to make sure that she brands, she markets, because she's a success story. So we are going to have women like her who will be into our database. And you can want to go and be placed to learn. Even male, because we want to look at male-dominated. For example, these days we have a lot of real estate businesses. You might want to learn about real estate business. How do you do it? You might want to learn about dealing in being a brokerage firm, opening a brokerage firm to do bonds, to do equities, to do that. We will place you in a company that is doing those very complicated businesses. Then you will have a firm for brokering people's wealth, managing people's wealth. That is how many people in America have become rich, managing people's wealth. Because people who are wealthy are too busy. So you have this brokerage firm. So that is the placement that will be done. So that is component 1 with the subcomponents, 4 subcomponents. Then I go to component 2. Component 2 is a grant, which will be grant support for micro enterprises through business competition. Now, under this, the business innovation grant will be put in place to award high-impact businesses which can produce more jobs, and women breaking into male-dominated enterprises and social enterprises. So under this, we will have money put there as a grant, and we choose a certain enterprises where you will come and compete for that grant. I think let me pause a bit as we welcome the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Then I will later come back to conclude before I invite her.
Since our chief guest is here, I'm going to request you that we all stand up, and we have the anthems, one stanza each for Uganda and for East Africa, and then the senior minister will continue with her presentation. Thank you. Take your seats. Right Honorable Prime Minister, we want to welcome you to this national rollout of the GROW project. And before you came, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development was giving us an overview of the project and the different components that are within the GROW project. And I was requesting if you can allow us, the Minister, to complete Sorry about that. I was requesting that the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development to come and complete her presentation, after which she will invite the chief guest to give us her remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, and thank you for coming. And I will go straight to component 2, which I just started. And I was saying this component is going to have grants. And the grants you don't pay back. And it will be a competitive grant. You come with an idea, a business idea. It can be an idea which is in male-dominated enterprise or in a social enterprise. A social enterprise can be, for example, you have started a lending scheme that is in the old district, is supporting women in growing their businesses. You're giving them money under your lending or cooperative or circle, and it has created social impact in that many women are borrowing at a cheap loan from you. And you say, to continue with my social enterprise that is supporting women, I need a grant of this amount to continue supporting the women groups or supporting the enterprises of women with a cheap loan. If you make your case with the numbers, with the picture, then you can be given the grant to get into getting more of the women to be supported under you. I will tell you later how much the grant is. We are thinking of the grant going up to about 100 million. And if you do well, you can still participate. Because we are looking at intervention at district level. Then subcomponent 2B is access to credit. And this is the one which is very important. The support to financing through financial institutions that will be selected through a standard competitive process. Of course, we already know Ministry of Finance has profiled financing institutions that are supporting PDM. They know many of the financial institutions that are up to the grassroots. We want to pick a bank which is up to the grassroots, who can have agents up to the grassroots level to manage this financing. And beneficiary will then get the money from the banks. We will give all the criteria at a reduced amount. And we will pay directly to the bank. We will have an understanding with the bank. And this component we are implementing in partnership with private sector, because they know how private sector is driven. The interest rate will be subsidized, and we are in cabinet. The Right Honorable Prime Minister was here. In cabinet, the cabinet advised that it should not exceed 10%, but as much as possible should be within the PDM rate. So between PDM rate but below 10%. So these are the negotiations that we are now in with the participating financial institutions when they come on board. Also within this component of credit 2B, there is what we are calling matching grant. Now, matching grant is where the ministry will advertise and say, we are giving, let's say tourism, we are giving a matching grant. You must show me that you have invested in your tourism, either a hotel or a tourist company. If you have, I'm giving just as an example. If you've invested, you already have your vehicles, they're already moving, and we say, okay, we're having a matching grant, you apply, but you are ready to foot 50%, even if it is not monetary, but you have the capacity to provide something for your business to grow, equaling, let's say, 75 or 50%, then you will be given a grant. And the grant will range with the participating bank of 25%, you're given free money. And you can mix the grant with the loan. So you can even borrow the loan at a cheap price and then apply for the grant. Or you can have your money and your investment, which is already supporting your business, and apply for the grant. And the credit grant will be between $1,000 to $50,000. So, which is going to be for either refinancing, because we know many of you have bad loans. You might say, let me borrow this cheap loan, I clear away this other one. And then you do a matching grant, or you do both credit and grant. So it will target individual borrowers and not groups, and then women's owned companies or companies owned by men but employing women. And then the loans to enterprise will be in all sectors. This one we have not said it's specific, so long as you've made your case. And applications will then be advertised and will be able to let you know through the channel. Then subcomponent 2C, which is still under credit, still is the same concept, where the female entrepreneurs will be able to borrow at that cheap rate. So component 2B is borrowing, matching with a grant. Then component 2C is only borrowing. But for me, with the time, we will sit with MPs and you see how you can have your women and people who are in the businesses, how you can make sure you have both. You can be supported under this component, both 2B and 2C, which can support you to get off the bad debts that are there and the women who are out there and want to grow their business. So for sustainability of this facility, because this is money the World Bank has given to us as a grant, and we are not returning it back. So for sustainability, we are also going to have recovery, but we are also going back to cabinet to get a way where the recovered money will be plowed back so that the project is sustainable even after the 5 years. Then we go to subcomponent 3. Now subcomponent 3 is facilities. I had tried to talk about facilities to support women in business. And so we will have first under 3A, a multi-purpose service and production facility to boost women enterprise productivity. This facility is to support women enterprise growth and transition beyond the project life. It will construct and equip women multi-purpose enterprise and productivity center, and the construction of the common user facilities in 4 regions, including in refugee hosting districts. And it will, we will conduct the mapping, and in this what we are going to do, we will put a big building, 2 of them, and we will have a one-stop center for women entrepreneurs to benefit from all these things I'm talking about. If you want to do certification, you will not need to go to UNBS. If you want investment authority, if you want land title, if you want to have inspectors to get a certification to export, this multi-purpose productivity center which will be constructed will have a one-stop center for a woman in business to know everything. If you want to export from abroad, you don't have internet or you don't have support how you can export from abroad, because these days you sit in your sitting room anywhere on the internet, you will order from China, you will order from the US, you will order from anywhere, they put in the container and track it for you up to when it reaches. So we'll have this center with internet, with staff that are functional, that is able to support you to get all this certification for you to export your product. If you want to certify it for the Ugandan market, you just go in that as a woman. It's a one-stop center for you to get everything you want in business. Because we know many women are shy, some are illiterate. They go into these big offices, they want to register a company, you go to URSB, they tell you, Sijui, you sit here, from here you go there, from there you go there, you go fingerprint, you go do this, you want to clear URA, you don't know how to clear it, we are going to have auditors there. We are going to have all those technical teams that can support you in government processes for businesses, because we've realized many women and many people have problems with the processes of government. So that productivity center will support us. Then under component 3B, the enabling access gender inclusive workplace infrastructure. That's where we shall come to your district. You will support us to know where is the biggest area where women do business. If you tell us it is a market, then we'll go there and ask the women, what common user facility do you need for you to do business? They might say, you put for us internet. They might say, you put for us a baby daycare center. They might ask anything that can be used communally that can support women to do their business. We will do that under component 3B so that your gender does not restrict you from doing business. So that is under component, and we will work with the local government. I'm glad the Minister of State for Local Government is here. We will work with the local government to identify these facilities that will support women. Some are already existing in cabinet. She told us that already Ministry of Local Government has constructed already many markets, but some have facilities, some do not have. If they already have certain facilities, we can now go into putting that mini one-stop center with internet and a digital platform for women to even be able to have a digital platform for selling their product. Have somebody design for them a market platform where people can order and you get a border to deliver to that person. So that is the common user facility and component 3B. Then we go to the last component. This one is not very, it's not for us. It is where the coordination, the staffing, institutions to implement the project, the staff that will be recruited, the project supervision and monitoring, the data collection, because we need, under some component 4B, we need a lot of getting data, getting policies. Certain things will need to be changed, to be reformed. There will be need for interministerial coordination for this project. So this is the component that will be done under that, which is analysis, data, and coordination, and the institutional framework to support the project. So those are the components under the project, and really to now conclude that the cross-cutting issues in this project is number one, in refugee hosting communities, we will have there is a specific sub-component for refugee and host communities, and at another time I will call again members of parliament whose districts are in the refugee host community to let you know how we can support you in also because we have financing under it. Then disability inclusion, the certain percentage has to be set aside to support the persons with disability. So we'll also work with the members of parliament. Of course, climate change, we have to have the component of green economy and supporting. So in conclusion, this meeting is meant to let members of parliament, ministers, and the platforms, the women in business, to understand that we are now rolling out this program. That is number one. Today is the day to tell you we are rolling out beginning this week, and we couldn't roll it to your districts without first letting you know. So it's to tell you we are about to reach your district. Number two, each of the ministers in the Ministry of Gender will be reaching out to you to work with you depending on the districts that they are going to handle. And we will also, in silent, we will look at how the women members of parliament, when we go to your district, we will come to you and see how we can mobilize together. That one, I don't need to say it here, but the ministers in the Ministry of Gender who have been assigned that job, they know how to reach out to the women members of parliament to make sure that you participate in the mobilization and support. And lastly, to say that let us be the change makers. Let us not just say we are going to ensure that women participate. You yourself, start with you participating either as a businesswoman or as a social entrepreneur who can start a social enterprise that can maybe be part of the grant that will be supporting the women, so that by the time you go back for other things that you know, they will say, they have been with us. I thank you and welcome you. So, you know, recently, His Excellency the President was in isolation. And you know who was the acting president. Do you know? So, Majegere. So, she is our Prime Minister who is coming to officially open. Then after she has left, we are going to have questions and answer session before we close. Right, Honorable Prime Minister. Your women of Uganda are here for you. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister and colleague ministers, will you help me? Yongera Kemabeka. The honorable members of parliament, I have seen there are many. The permanent secretaries, the World Bank country manager, our other development partners, representatives of the women entrepreneurs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from His Excellency the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He's fully recovered. I want to thank you for your prayers. And he's busy working. I want to take this opportunity, Madam Minister, Gender, Labour and Social Development, to thank you for inviting me to preside over the national rollout and sensitization on the generation of generating growth opportunities and productivity for women entrepreneurs, a project called GROW. This project will complement the government's effort aimed at mobilizing and building the capacity of women for socio-economic transformation. I therefore want once again to congratulate the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development on receiving the US dollars 217 million grant from the World Bank on behalf of the government of Uganda to implement this project. I thank the GROW project partners, including the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, Makerere University Business School, for designing this intervention, and the World Bank for providing this grant. Thank you so much. As you already know, the GROW project is a big achievement because it comes at a time when the government of Uganda has decided to reduce borrowing and rely more on internally generated revenues and grants. So thank you so much once again. Ladies and gentlemen, your decision to disseminate information about the project before its implementation is commendable. It will cultivate a sense of ownership among our people, that is the women, and make it easy to mobilize the beneficiaries. I'm pleased to note that this project will focus on enabling entrepreneurs or enterprises owned by women to grow and transition to the next level of the business cycle. I'm also glad that the GROW project is designed to respond to many challenges faced by women entrepreneurs, such as lack of capital and limited capacity to expand their businesses. As you're already aware, many women entrepreneurs find it difficult to access information on government programs. It is important, therefore, that you reach out to these women and guide them on how to benefit from the GROW project and other government programs like the Parish Development Model, Emioga, and others. As Prime Minister and leader of government business, I pledge the government's commitment to implementing this project thoroughly well. Through the established structures of government, we will monitor the implementation of this project to ensure it succeeds. I therefore call upon all of you, especially the implementers, to exercise a high degree of transparency and accountability during the execution of this project. To the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the project implementers, the task ahead of you is huge. The project implementers or implementation requires hard work. I urge you to remain committed and work tirelessly to ensure that this project goes on as planned. We need the results from this project. The government will not tolerate poor performance and unnecessary delays during the implementation of this project. I'm telling you. So with those remarks, it is now my pleasure to declare this national rollout and sensitization on the GROW project officially open. For God and my country.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister will exit. As she's exiting, may I call the technical team to come here. Honourable Sarah will come back and take us through the question and answer session. The key technical people who are coming here, there is Ruth and Alex, whom I've been looking for. They decided to hide, but for Ruth, I know why she's hiding. Ruth, you first stand here. No, you alone. You know, Ruth, for those who know Honorable Kasolo, we went and got her for Kasolo. And I've been asking her whether she's about to vomit or not. That's why she has been hiding from me. But when she's answering, I want her to give you her number. And Alex is our commissioner, Alex Asimwe, in charge of the overall project. They will answer all your questions, but they will also give their numbers to you, because some of the issues you might want to follow directly with them for purpose of linking with your women. So, Honorable Sarah, the podium is yours for question and answer time.
Thank you so much. I will not waste a lot of time because at 2, members of parliament have to be in the house. So I would request all those who have questions, we shall move to the other tent and we raise our questions, or what you feel you have not understood and you feel that you need some guidance or some more knowledge about what you think you have not understood. Or we assume everybody has understood. I can't hear you. They want a portable microphone. The DJ, please help us with the microphone. Yes, there is a microphone there. Honorable Kanushu wants to ask.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister, and I believe the MC for the day. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development for the very, very elaborate presentation. And to also thank her because she has brought this to our attention before the implementation of the actual project. So I want to thank the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Number one, I want to request that we are provided with the copy of the presentation that the Minister just made for our in-depth understanding and also for us to take it forward. I have about 3 questions. One is this project going to individual women entrepreneurs or groups as well? And if so, or both? And if so, how much can an individual woman access and how much can a group access? So I want to know, can a group benefit from this money, or is it just an individual woman? And if so, what are the amounts for both groups? The other question is about training. The Minister talked about trainings, and for me, as a National Woman Member of Parliament, my constituency will not be a district. So how can this project assist me to organize my women who are scattered all over the country, women entrepreneurs with disabilities in my case, who are scattered all over the country, so that they also benefit from this? Is there a plan or a budget where I can mobilize these women, and then the people who are implementing the project can actually train them? But also because, again, because it's a national outlook, because you also talked about training them in their local languages, So that means that I would be able to organize them maybe in sub-regions or national, so that's something I want to understand. And lastly, the minister talked about disability inclusion. I want some clarity on what that percentage is and how the women with disabilities can get that percentage. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the women, not just the women, but people with disabilities are already struggling with the PDM, because initially we thought that women or people with disabilities can gain from the PDM from their groups, but in some districts we are facing a challenge where they're telling persons with disabilities, you can't form your groups, go join your tormentors that have tormented you for all these years. And so I would want to know how this percentage is going to, how we can clearly as members of parliament make sure that our percentage actually goes to us as women with disabilities. I want to thank you once again.
Thank you. We shall take like 5 questions, then they will answer.
Thank you so much,
But I request you first introduce yourselves, because I can't see all of you.
My name is Achan Judith Peace. I'm the district woman representative, Noya. I'm very much privileged to be here and share this platform with my big entrepreneur, Mama Delight Farm, Adieri. She's the woman I was jumping and fighting for in Chankwanzi. I'm happy that she's here. One, the figures, the grants that we are getting from the World Bank is not tallying. When you look at the presentation of the Prime Minister, is mentioning a different figure. From the Minister is saying 170 million, and then on the procurement is saying 270, say US dollars. So we need to marry the 3, and we are informed. 217, yes. And then maybe lastly, to make it a little more easier for us to mobilize the community, always when good projects like this comes out, we make it so much complicated with a lot of documentations, especially for our rural women, who finds it very difficult, and that gives a huge gap in the, at the initial stage to have the project to start or for it to be implemented. So let us try to bridge that gap by reducing on too much paperwork, especially for our rural women. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Judith.
Thank you. Thank you. Rose Zobiga, the woman member of Parliament Terego, and the most rural MP in the 11th Parliament. Honorable Minister, I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. It is so rosy, like my name. My only prayer is that it should really come to pass. Wouldn't want to come here and celebrate what later on turns to be a white elephant. Straight to the refugee hosting communities. The food ratio and what has been given to refugees has drastically reduced. This has increased theft, immorality, early marriages and pregnancies, because they have to survive and have to fend for themselves. And I would beg, if it is possible, Terego was the last created district in this country. And now that the number of refugees is more than the number of host community, could we start there with the refugee element of this program too? Climate change. I didn't get any thorough update on what you're exactly going to do in the climate change area. Are we looking at raising the nursery seedlings, or are we going to give them seedlings, or what is it? It's an area that really touches my heart, and I think I will be grateful if light is thrown there. And lastly, we honestly request for a document, a complete document, both brief and detailed, even if it's bigger than the document Human Rights Commission gives us. I think in 2 weeks' time we shall be done with the reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Rose. We go to the fourth person, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. My name is Christina Polotu, Umane Mpikumi. I want to appreciate this launch and say that this is a new project. But Honorable Minister, in my district, that is Kumi, we had another GROW project that has been there for some time. Personally, I want to seek some guidance on the reference office so that I can visit the office and find out the difference between the GROW that has been in my district and then this GROW, so that when we are doing the sensitization, we are able to make the difference. I want also to find out whether there are other conditionalities set for the women entrepreneurs. What is that required of that category of the women who will benefit from this project? And assuming that we have groups where the groups are dominated by women and there are also men in such groups, will they qualify to get this grant or they don't qualify? Finally, could we have a summary of the talking points for this project so that as we speak in this district, the information that is communicated is the same across the world, the country? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Christine. Next.
We shall be brief. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Esther Anyakun. I'm the State Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees. I want to be very meticulous and go straight to the refugee affairs. Honorable Rose has brought it very clearly on the reduction of food ration of refugees. And I know the World Bank, who are funding this project, are very particular about supporting the refugee community. And we know our goal at the moment, because of the reduction of resource envelope from the donor community, is on self-reliance of the refugees in this country. We have structures in refugees at the district level. We have focal point persons. We call them the District Engagement Forum. We also have Refugee Engagement Forum, where I would really want to interest the minister to have a meeting to bring them on board so that they really have to know about this program, especially on component 1, and we see how the refugees can be really supported. I'm very interested in this program, however much it's going to benefit the people of Nakapiriprit too, but our issue is to avoid what the Member of Parliament has just said happening in the refugee communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Esther. I had said we are going to take 5 questions at a time. Maybe from the questions they have asked, you may get an answer of what you wanted to ask. So allow me to call the technical people to come and answer the 5 questions, the 5 people that asked the various questions. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, will avail the copies of the PAD and operational manual. We will also avail the summary or the brief of project document. One of the questions is on whether the individual women entrepreneurs or group women entrepreneurs will benefit? The answer is yes. Both the individual and women entrepreneurs will benefit, as long as you are categorized as a micro entrepreneur and a small entrepreneur. On the issue of disability, we are keenly handling this issue. We are coming up with the criteria, and we are discussing with the representatives of persons with disability leaders. So we hope that we will be able to communicate soon on how the women entrepreneurs with disability will benefit. The grant is 217, just for clarity, million US dollars. Now, there is a question on refugees. Yes, you have raised an issue of food rations, but this project is for women entrepreneurs in refugee hosting districts and the refugees who are women entrepreneurs. So that character needs to be. Then on the confusion in Kumi, don't worry, we are available. We should be able to provide information on that. My colleague, Ruth? Ruth has something to supplement, Honorable Minister, so allow me to invite her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ruth Binska Kasono, and I'm the Deputy National Project Coordinator for GROW. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming. And in addition to what Alex said, we'll actually be able to do information meetings to take you through the application process. For clarity, GROW is meant for people who are in business or those who intend to start businesses. The interventions that we'll have would vary per component. For some components, a group can apply. For example, trainings. As a group, you can apply for both soft skills and technical trainings, but for loans, it will be individuals. And we are going to work with particular banks. Some of the banks we are going to work with are already here, so there you go in as an individual to get the line of credit or the performance grant. The other point I also wanted to talk about is the disability inclusion. For people with disability, they will get special preference in terms of what more can we be able to offer. For example, for all technical skills, groups that have disability people with members with disability would have additional tools and equipment for free, which is not necessarily common for the other groups. And also the additional ratio we use will be a bit higher because we know they have challenges with movement, but we might also be able to give them some the tools they need to use as members that are disabled. On the issues of the refugee communities, we have additional resources have been allocated for communities that are disabled, and I will be very much interested for members of parliament that are much more ready, especially the member that indicated will be leaving our numbers. Probably we could start with some of those communities that are more ready, but amounts for disability is allocated and it cannot be given to any other community. Sorry, for the refugee and hosting districts. So they have an added advantage. And on the issue of the reference points, where can you be able to get this information? I think Alex has been very clear, where we have district community officers, but also PSFU would use all district farmers associations, where you'd find UMA, Federation of Uganda Employers across the country, would actually also add them on our reference point areas. We are also interfacing to see how fast we can use with women, the women councils where they are, and the women MYOGAs. These are already under discussion. And lastly, I think the other issue was that what are the conditions for accessing the money? We have developed an eligibility criteria, and we are going to be sharing it with you, all the participants. But I think what is very key to us is that if you're a woman, you have a business, even if it is not yet registered, you qualify for at least any of the components. And also, if it's a group and it is registered, directly, if the funding has to come to you directly, you must be registered. But this time around, we have also made it much more easier for people who cannot read and write, especially trainings. You don't have to write anything. All you need to do, we will tell you that these, for example, let's say in Mbale, we might select a skilling center for that region, presidential skilling center, or let's say Elgon, which is a center of excellency. You just have to go there and say, we will advertise and tell you all these are the training institutions you can go, or skilling centers. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to go as an MP or any women leader group. You go there and give there the names of your members, because it will be clear. It would be a short-term course in mechanical engineering, or in a motor vehicle repair, or in tailoring for 2 weeks or for 4 weeks. You just have to put your name and where you stay. The training institution will be responsible to look at you and identify that these are the needs that you want, without writing. And it can be done in English, even on all Uganda, all Usoga, whatever it is. And the trainings can even be done on weekends or evenings after women have left their own businesses. So this should be able to make the access to these services much more easier. And for the women entrepreneurs that can be able to present their proposals, that opportunity would also be there. We will make arrangements with UNBS for certification, and we are going to start the discussion for any women that have been struggling with getting UNBS certification. We'll have this MOU with them. All you need to do is to go there. Just go there and say, I'm a woman. They will check that you're a woman, you're not a man. If it is a business, they will check that the shareholding is at least 51% woman. And there you go. You don't have to apply for anything. So the process has been, the Minister of Gender was very clear that we should make this program much more easier for people. The only difference is that because it is much more easier, it might be harder to give money to you directly, unless it's for a grant for innovation or a loan. But for these other services, you will get the service. Thank you very much.
Is it on?
Thank you so much. We are now going to take another round of 5. And I don't know the lady who was helping me with the microphone. I still hear the Deputy IGG here. Who has the microphone?
Yeah, I'm Honorable Agnes Amede.
Okay.
Member of Parliament for Butembo District. I would like to thank the ministry for attracting this grant. These are my questions. 1, where are you in the process of implementation at local government? Is the DCDO at the center of this project? I have a concern here in my district. The DCDO, the commercial officer, the production officer, so far, this alignment, all economic development program interventions in the district have failed. I'm therefore asking, might you profile some of these districts that have consistently posted poor outcomes in far as interventions are concerned, and say post your own focal person? The other question is a request for you to give us a detailed criteria of who actually, what is the threshold to benefit. Because in my district, I can rank everyone as a peasant. And maybe those who are doing something are doing petty things in the market. The other question is, can you use a triangulated method of identifying groups? Maybe not only take the CDO's information, but the RDC can verify, even the MP can verify. Or else, these are avenues where we get ghost groups. Then lastly, I, as a woman member of parliament, am doing some empowerment programs. Is it possible for me to benefit as a champion of other groups, mobilizing other groups under my leadership, and also benefit as an individual? Thank you.
Thank you. I would request that at least you ask 1 or 2 questions so that we give opportunity to others. Because we don't have the time.
Thank you. I'm going to ask only one question. My name is Richard Gafabusa, Member of Parliament, Boamba County, Wondebujo. My question is about equity, about sharing this money across the country. I have not heard the range of the grant. If we consider one of the women entrepreneurs here, Adieri from Noya, I have been to her farm. She can take 5 billion. Will another member, another woman from Noya get? I divided $90 million by the number of districts in Uganda into Uganda shillings. If we shared it equally, it would be around 2.2 billion per district. Are you considering allocating a specific figure for each district so that at least every district benefits? Because we've had challenges with other programs, especially that are of grant nature, that all the money can end up going into, divided into a few districts and others don't get. What is the arrangement under this program? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Richard. Next.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Kangwaje Rwakanuma, Member of Parliament of Bukanga, constituency Isinyiro District. I have only one question. I would love to know, just from here, the maximum an individual can receive, or yes, thank you. Now the microphone is on. I also wanted to know exactly, if it is a group or an association, how much can they be able to receive? Lastly, I wanted to know from the ministry, when will this program exactly be rolled in all the districts? Because in Isinyiro, I don't think that they have ever had. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you so much. I'm not a member of parliament. I'm not any distinguished guest here. But I run an organization, NGO, and I live in England, actually, but I'm running an organization here. But I would like to share, first of all, to thank you so much for this project, because I think it's extremely, extremely exciting. However, recently, I'm actually running a pilot with looking at a small-scale group in Rubaga North, and that pilot is to do with the Emyoga. And we have got very, very interesting results which looked at the model, which I think is the same model that we are going to be using in GROW, which is the same model that's being used in the PDM, which is the same model that have actually been used by all previous programs. However, our findings, just one finding, shows that the model that you are actually utilizing, which is a top-bottom model, has got its challenges. And our finding actually shows that until we look at the bottom-up approach, then we shall be struggling. My name is Gertrude Kamia, and I'm quite happy to come and disseminate this information about the findings of our group. I would really advise you to listen to our findings, because I believe that it will help with the implementation of all these programs. And I know you are, on my back, but just one more thing. Now, you talked about the centralized shop. In other words, one-stop shop. So my question is, the direct question is, and I believe, or I suspect or assume, that this shop will be based probably in Kampala. So what about the other beneficiaries in different districts? How will they be accessing this facility? Thank you so much. I would have said more, but I think I'm under pressure here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We are left with only 20 minutes. So I'm going to only request 2 people to ask, and then we shall wind up with questions, get answers, and then we finish, because we have to be in the house by 2.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And I would like also to add my voice to thank the Gender Ministry for this launch and enlightening us on this big project and important project for the country, GROW. However, there are 4 components which I see of this project. My name is now Sheni. The 4th component, which the proponents put $15 million US, and it is saying program management support, policy innovation, and evidence generation. On to say that this will support project management, policy innovation, and evidence generation. Probably we need more clarification, because this 15 million, to me, if it is taken into production, into value addition, and maybe if there is any management support, you give it a little bit less money than 15. But if you tell me evidence generation, I am getting confused. I don't know what it is, what the proponents of the project meant on this. Because 15 million to me, it is big, but management support, which kind of management? I thought in the write-up, everything was done. So now which kind of management are we talking about? If we could get the clarification on this component, because the rest is clear. Thank you.
We are going to the second last person.
Mukama yebazibwe basebo ne banyabo. Amanya n'eddoboozi bampita mukyala Harriet Kanyankole, chairperson wa Bukoto 1 Local Women Emyoga Sacco. Bwe twawulira programu y'emyoga, nsooka kwebaza minisita eyatuleese mu kifo kino n'akakiiko n'abateesiteesi ne gavumenti ya NRM President Yoweri Museveni. Bwe twawulira programu y'emyoga ne tutandika Sacco ng'abakyala, ne tutandika okusevinga. Bwe twatandika okusevinga ne batuwa obutabo buno, ne tutandika okusevinga nga tebanatuwa ssente. Omwezi gw'Ekkumi 2021 ne batuwa obukadde 30. Ne tusigala nga tusevinga nga twewola. Essaawa zino wenjogerera mu Sacco yaffe tulina obukadde 150. Naye bassebo ne banyabo obukadde 150 tebutumala, tubadde tusaba mutwongere obukadde 5 tusobole okukulaakulanya Sacco yaffe ne gavumenti yaffe.
Thank you, Mrs. Kanyankole. That is her view, and those who are responsible have taken note. Let's have the Deputy IGG, and then...
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and thank you for this initiative. In Uganda today, women form the labor force in agriculture, and the women have lots of challenges, including the challenge Honorable Obiga Rose talked about the climate change and the negative impact. But my concern here this afternoon is basically about the transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption. What does the project have in place to strengthen transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption through enhanced supervision and monitoring? Because there are times when good projects come like this, and some people take advantage of it to steal money out of it. And then lastly, what lessons do we have from the PDM, which is currently facing some challenges in respect to transparency and accountability? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before I call the technical people to answer, I would like to inform you that a copy of the presentation that was made by the minister is going to be circulated in your pigeonholes, the members of parliament, and of course we shall also put it on your emails so that you can internalize it, and maybe, God willing, we'll have time to discuss again. Let me take this opportunity to call the technical people to come and answer, and then we can proceed.
Thank you very much once again for the questions. I want to start with the threshold. Members were so much interested to know how much can you be able to get. I want to clarify that the project has several components. There are some components where you will come to get a service. There are some where you will come to get the money. Those where you come to get the money, we have component 2A, where you can get an innovation grant. This is free of charge. The maximum amount an individual can get is 100 million Uganda shillings, free. Have a good business idea, we will advertise. By the way, this is a World Bank funded project. They are very strict with transparency. We have to follow to ensure that the anti-corruption policies are clear, but also we must have a clear process of accountability to ensure that everybody has equal access to information, and also a clear grievance mechanism. So for this particular case, for the grant, it is 100 million. And for the loans, we have two categories. One for the performance grant and one for the actual line of credit. For the performance grant, loans that will be able to benefit from this will be a maximum of 200 million. And also for the line of credit for women, maximum will be 200 million. This has been designed based on the fact that we are targeting women who are micro, that are transitioning to small, and those that are small that are transitioning to medium. And we also know that UDB has another line of credit for women. So we are looking at these women that are into that category of transition, and these figures have also been based to the study we have done with the commercial banks. Most of the women in this country are into that bracket. The other question was on can we make deliberate initiatives to target women that we know that are good. I think when the Honorable Minister was presenting, she talked about platforms. So we are already going to work with so many women groups and platforms. They are going to give us a basis for identifying women entrepreneurs that we can be able to work with. So for me, that would be an additional added plus. And the support that we can receive from MPs, RDCs, leaders at local government would actually help us to identify the women that we are targeting. A Honorable Member of Parliament asked whether she can benefit as a leader or an individual, and I have to say yes. As a leader, your women groups can be able to benefit from the various programs. And as an individual, if your business is registered, you have an enterprise, you can be able to benefit. When we talk about an enterprise benefiting, we're also looking at the employees within that enterprise, of which some could be men. So we are not leaving men behind. I think somebody that talked about it. In terms of equity, are we blocking money per region? I want to say this program is demand driven. However, we have made deliberate efforts to ensure that we tentatively allocate resources per region. This is a grant, Honorable Members of Parliament. If we don't use this money in a particular period, the money will be given to another country. So we might not have, if we do the first year, second year, and your region is not using the allocated money, we have to give it to other people. Otherwise, Uganda will lose this amount of money. There is a member who talked about large enterprises taking all the money. I want to say, for cases where I would work with large enterprises, the multiplier effect might be big. If you look at, for example, an enterprise like Fadeli, she's directly supporting over 20,000 women. And maybe if there is any support, it could be something we could look at. Yes.
With the stand? Okay. Bring the stand. We've been dislodged. Please, you're welcome.
We were going to go to God and visit.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. I think we were done with what we wanted to present. And I am requesting the Honorable Minister of Trade to come and officially close. After closing, we shall sing the national anthem, and then they will announce the administrative issues, because we have lunch. Nobody should go without having lunch and other things that will follow. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry.
Honorable Ministers present, Honorable Members of Parliament present, the Permanent Secretaries present, development partners, representative of women entrepreneurs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to thank you for all coming to attend this national rollout of the GROW project. Permit me also to thank all ministers and members of parliament who are here. I thank you so much for coming, because I know that you have sacrificed a lot of time, terms of time and other important programs to come and be with us here. Your presence makes us feel special, because we know that you are very busy people. As we all know, the GROW is a Government of Uganda project financed by World Bank to the tune of 217 million. It is a national project that covers the entire country, including all the constituencies. It is an accelerator project, women enterprise development, that will build on achievements so far made by the NRM government in women economic empowerment. In the labor market survey of 2022, the labor force participated rate for women is 39, compared to 58 for men, implying that only 4 in 10 working age women are active in labor market, compared to 6 in every 10 men. Data from UBOS also indicate that unemployment for women is higher at 16.5% compared to that for men, which is 10.4%, with female youth suffering the greatest brunt of 20.4%. This implies that the sustaining livelihood is more difficult for women than men. Unfortunately, even the lucky few women who are in employment can almost half of the earnings of men. The median earnings for females in Uganda stand at Uganda 1.68 million, compared to men at the Uganda shilling is 3 million. As a stopgap measure to make ends meet, a large number of women has turned into independent workers. 64% of the working women are independent workers, majority of whom, 56, operate as their own account workers, with only 8% operate businesses and employ other people. We are happy that this project arises out of the need to respond to the needs of women entrepreneurs who want to grow their businesses, sustain their self-employment, and also create more jobs. The project development objective is to increase access to services that enhance transition of female-owned businesses from micro to small and from small to medium enterprises. It focuses on empowering women enterprises in high-growth sectors with the potential to create more jobs and lift many people. We thank the Ministry of Gender for organizing this national rollout GROW project in order to enable us to understand it and mobilize our constituents from the project implementation. This sensitization has been organized purposely to inform the opportunities for women entrepreneurs which are available under the GROW project. I therefore urge you to use the information you have obtained from this function to mobilize women entrepreneurs in your districts. I wish at once again to thank the Ministry of Gender, led by Honorable Minister Beto Monji, who actually invited me to close this meeting, as you really understand that most of these programs concern value addition, industrialization, and the government programs which fall under my ministry. I take this singular honor to declare this national rollout function for God and my country.
Thank you so much. Before we sing the national anthems, I have two announcements to make. Members of Parliament and ministers, we are going to have lunch served from that side. It's already there. Don't leave the lunch. Then other members who are not members of Parliament, we are going to be served from behind there. Then I request that everybody who has come here should make sure that you have registered and you put there your number very clearly, because one of our ways of being transparent is by making sure we do it directly through your mobile phones. Those who have got the message have got the message. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I request that we stand up and we sing the national anthem. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope that we are going to continue interacting. Thank you so much.
Enable female entrepreneurs. Support. Private Sector Foundation, Uganda.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello and welcome to Lunchtime News. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Let's dig into it. Uganda is set to establish a trade hub in Belgrade, Serbia, as part of its strategy to enhance presence in the Balkans region. The trade hub will provide a platform for promoting and selling Ugandan coffee, bananas, chocolate, grains and tourism, with the goal of strengthening export revenue. During a meeting with ministers and private sector representatives will play key roles at the trade hub. Prime Minister Robina Nabbanja emphasized the significance of improving export revenue and urged the delegates to capitalize on the opportunity to effectively showcase Uganda's potential.
A trade delegation from the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, comprising stakeholders from the coffee, horticulture, tourism, beef, dairy and grain sectors, is set to exhibit at the Belgrade Trade Hub in a meeting attended by ministers from various key sectors including trade, ICT and national guidance, tourism, works and transport, science and technology, agriculture and foreign affairs. Prime Minister Nabanja emphasized that improving the country's export revenue is a crucial aspect of this initiative.
And our products will soon be available to consumers in Serbia and beyond. This is a very great stride. And I want to thank the President, whose support has enabled the public and the private sector to work together to implement the export promotion strategy.
The establishment of the trade hub in Belgrade is anticipated to hold immense potential for Uganda to strengthen its foothold not only in Central and Southeastern Europe but also across the 11 Balkan countries.
This will mean that they have allowed us to export a number of products in Uganda, from Uganda, and we have to add value fast here in Uganda. We process the coffee, process the tea, prepare the fruits, the flowers, and many other items which we have.
So this partnership is very, very important for us. And at Science, Technology and Innovation in Uganda, we are really looking forward to strengthening our collaboration and working together with our partners in Serbia and the gateway that it provides for us into Europe.
Audrey Ruawogo, chairperson of the Presidential Advisory Committee, says he is optimistic that the trade hub will unlock new opportunities for Ugandans.
So we want to go to places where we have had a bit of entry point and where we're not avoiding competition, but where we will find a softer landing. And Serbia, Belgrade City provides that. Secondly, Serbia has a very good trade representative who is a businessman, who has spent his own resources to set up a hub and once has invited Ugandan companies to sell products in the hub. What an amazing opportunity. The government of Uganda is not spending on that gentleman to set up a hub.
The establishment of the Belgrade Trade Hub aligns with the broader plan of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development to establish similar trade centers in selected markets, acting as comprehensive one-stop centers for accessing Uganda's diverse trade opportunities.
And the number of casualties resulting from the attack on Mpondwe Lubiriha Secondary School has tragically risen to 43, with the recent passing of Mbambo Felista due to severe brain damage at Bwera General Hospital. As investigations continue, authorities are actively pursuing more suspects connected to the attack. Our reporter Ivan Kawa on the ground also visited Mpondwe Lubiriha Market, where he observed a noticeable decline in activity as the business community shuns away from holding market transactions for the time being.
Mpondwe Lubiriha cross-border market serves as a vibrant epicenter for a wide range of activities where the business communities from the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda engage in various transactions. The ambience at the market is vibrant and energetic. To ensure the safety and security of all individuals within the market premises, stringent security measures have been implemented. Now, following the incident that occurred at Mpondwe Lubiriha Secondary School, some members of the business community have not turned up for the market day at Mpondwe Lubiriha cross-border market. Now, the locals are requesting government to increase surveillance along the borders and as well increase on the number of security personnel guarding the market.
Because most of the mourners are still trying to bury their bodies, their relatives. In Congo, similar situation is happening. Most of the people are still also running away from the rebel attacks. Then you have no any vendors or traders from Congo. Also the border is also like that.
We are very, very few people. People has been reduced because of fearing.
Tulwalero tetukoze sente osanga watunzeyo pay emu pay abiri.
buli ayingira mu katale ayazibwa era kuno kwe kwongera abasirikale mu buli nsonda okuli abapoliisi ate n'amagye.
Bulijjo bano abasirikale ababadde batukebera ku miryango babeerawo babaze luvannyuma lw'eyo incident?
Waliwo abeerawo kale abasinga tutambula misana kati emisana babeerawo misana naye ekiro simanyi oba babeerayo oba tebabeerayo naye ng'emisana babeerawo basangawo kuba ku makya ssaawa emu paka ssaawa nga 3.
The vigilant security personnel diligently carry out their duties, creating an atmosphere of safety and confidence among the market goers. The smooth movement of people and goods between the two countries via the Mpondwe border is a testament to the efficiency of the border operations. Despite the activities and influx of individuals, the border management authorities have streamlined procedures to facilitate seamless cross-border movements. In the midst of these positive developments, significant progress has been made in the investigation of the attack on students in Kasese.
But we shall give a comprehensive information through the UPDF media systems. That will be done very soon.
Afande, how soon is the deployment going to be made following the letter by the President? That
very soon the President is here to give us the go-ahead and how it will be done.
So, Afande, we've also ascertained that the locals are saying that those who attacked were actually donning in military attire. Have you gotten that information?
That one I'm not so sure because I don't think there's anybody at night who was there taking photographs of that. Because if he was there, he should have given us that picture. To say they were donning military uniforms, no, it's not very easy.
For now, the number of suspects, Afande?
I think we are just arresting people whom we are only suspecting, like 3 so far known, but we are not so sure whether they are really part of that.
Unfortunately, amidst the ongoing investigations, another victim of the ADF attack, a devastating incident that shook the region, has succumbed to death. This heartbreaking event has raised the total number of casualties to 43. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Kasese District.
In February 2022, Uganda People's Defense Forces, together with their counterpart, the Congolese Army, launched the second axis to fight the Allied Democratic Forces ADF along Kasindi-Beni Road with the aim of creating a conducive bilateral trade between the two countries. Now, the joint military operation has caused vulnerability of the dispersed ADF personnel who may then not be able to successfully elude capture unless they surrender. Let's take a look.
ADF has for several years operated in North Kivu, which borders other provinces including Ituri to the north and South Kivu to the south. It has been a battleground for a number of rival armed ethnic groups since 1996. Mountain Division 111 Brigade under Colonel Kasule James began the war against ADF in the enemy-controlled areas of Nobile, Kamango, Watalinga in North Kivu province. At least 4 ADF camps were overrun, among them Medina 1, Medina 2 in North Kivu, Katanda and Machine in Ituri. It was a risk adventure the UPDF undertook to attack the ADF major camp when it applied artillery bombardment and air force power on 30th November 2021. Medina 1, Medina 2 in North Kivu, Katanda in Ituri province. This is where the ADF rebels took cover during the joint airstrikes and artillery bombardments in 2021.
Intelligence is very important in the operations. So we are no longer getting problems getting human intelligence because of civilians going back to their areas and being on our side. Because the villages were empty, there were no anybody telling us about these people. But the big gun was taking people back to their areas and winning their heart on our side.
The ground forces advanced after the bush killing and opening up of roads. Later, the forces advanced in the areas of Lubero, Masisi, Lushuru, among others. The 111 Brigade commander, Colonel James Kasule, was behind the successful battles in Kambia Yuwa, Mukakati, and Kamango.
Slightly, when they reduced, it took us time to discover it, but once we discovered and we start changing our tactics, and these are the results you see.
Colonel Kasule has consolidated the results of Operation Suja through vigilance, action and movement of troops in ADF sport areas. The area stretches from Kasindi, Beni, Butembo, Bulongo to Semriki, Mukakati, Kamango, up to Nobile, Busunga border. Since the war against ADF began, the joint forces embarked on civil military engagements with Congolese communities, informing them about the objectives of Operation Suja and UPDF presence in Eastern DR Congo. However, the recent attack of Rubiria Senior Secondary School by suspected ADF rebels has not demotivated the UPDF troops in Congo, but has motivated them to strengthen the pursuit towards rescuing the abducted students, if possible. Haruna Mtesasira, reporting for ABC News in Eastern Congo.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has tasked Ministry of Defence and that of Internal Affairs to present a statement on the tragic incident that hit Kasese last week. The Speaker, who condoled with the bereaved families, also called for thorough investigations into the incident that left over 40 people dead.
That was a very tragic occurrence. It opens up the scars of the previous tragedies that have happened.
On Friday night, 16th last week, a suspected ADF group attacked Lubiriha Secondary School in Impondwe, Kasese district, killing at least 37 students and other 5 people within the community. The suspected ADF group also abducted some students. On resumption of Parliament this afternoon, Speaker of Parliament Anita Among regretted the incident.
We want sincerely to condole with the families, the bereaved families, and management of the school, the people of Kasese, all the people of Uganda. And we want to condemn this loss in the strongest terms.
She called for a joint statement between the Minister of Education and Minister of Defence on the tragic incident.
Should be investigated and the perpetrators should be brought to book.
Although the Speaker requested the Prime Minister to present a brief statement on the tragedy, the Prime Minister delegated the Minister for Higher Education to present the statement since he had visited the scene of crime.
I want to call upon the Minister of State for Higher Education, who was at site, to come and give us a statement on what his findings are and what government is planning to do. And also the Minister of Internal Affairs was also there. I'm happy the Prime Minister also is in the house.
Government is going to present a report or a statement through the Minister of Education. This is for the school.
Chira Municipality Member of Parliament Ibrahim Semuju opposed it on grounds that the issue was totally under the security docket and needed a response in the security perspective.
But issues of security and defense are very serious matters. This matter, we need the minister responsible for defense. We passed money here and gave it to defense to defend Uganda's borders.
The Speaker supported the proposal. Speaker Anita Among later tasked the Minister of Defence to present a statement on the tragic incident Wednesday this week.
We will not discuss anything. Let's get a report from defense. Okay? Yeah, let's not gamble.
Lubiriha Secondary School incident is similar to other tragedies witnessed in the past, among which included the June 1998 Kichwamba Technical Institute massacre, where 80 students were set ablaze and 100 abducted by the ADF rebels. The others included the 1996 Aboke girls abduction in Oyam district and the 1991 abduction of students of Sacred Heart in Gulu district. Susan Naung and Gloria Gwitabinji reporting for ABC TV.
With that, we take a quick break. We'll return with more details.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu, kano kalipagano ka bidduka, birala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo, nyiga bunyizi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erunganisibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage